So what is axiom of choice is basically saying, very heuristically saying, given a non-empty collection of non-empty sets, you can pick up one element from each set and form a new set. So it is how sets can be constructed when the sets are not indexed by a family which is finite in number essentially. So it says, given any indexed family of non-empty sets, and that indexing set also is non-empty, from each one of these sets you can pick up one element and form a new set. So using this, one can show there exist sets in the real line which are not Lebesgue measurable. So we will prove this result. So assuming axiom of choice, there exist non-Lebesgue measurable sets in real line. So let us prove existence of non-measurable sets by assuming axiom of choice. So let us start. So what we are doing is existence of non-measurable sets. So that is what we are discussing. So we want to construct a subset of the real line which is not Lebesgue measurable. So to start with, consider once again the interval 0 to 1. So consider the interval 0 to 1. So this is the interval 0 to 1. On this, I am going to define a relation. So for x related to y, if x minus y is a rational number. So for x and y, take 2 points x and y in 0, 1, and you say that they are related with each other if and only if x, their difference, is a rational number. So the first observation, so claims, I will just write claims 1, that this x related to y is an equivalence relation. So what does equivalence relation mean? It means it is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So what is reflexive? X related to x, that is obvious because x minus x is 0 and that is a rational number. And secondly, if x is related to y, that means x minus y is a rational number, and so the difference, so the negative of that, that is y minus x, also is a rational number, so that implies that y is related to x. So if x is related to y, then y is related to x, that is called symmetry, that the relation is symmetric. And the third one is, let us suppose x is related to y and y is related to z. So x related to y means x minus y is rational, and y related to z means y minus z is rational. So if you take the difference, that implies that x minus z is a rational, so that implies that x is related to z also. So it is an equivalence relation, it is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. And every equivalence relation given on a set partitions the set into equivalence classes. So that is the basic idea, that 0, 1 can be partitioned into equivalence classes by this relation. So that implies, so second, that implies, so let us write that 0, 1 can be written as a disjoint union of equivalence classes. So let us write it as E alpha, alpha belonging to some indexing set, let us call it as A, E alpha equivalence class. And recall, equivalence class means E alpha intersection E beta is empty for alpha not equal to beta. That's why I have written as a union with this sign. That means equivalence classes, they cover 0, 1 and they are disjoint. So there is a partition of the set on which equivalence classes are defined. So that is, and the third step is, from each E alpha select some element x alpha and form the set, let us call it as E, which is x alpha belonging to the indexing set A. So what we are saying is, using this equivalence relation, partition the interval 0, 1 into equivalence classes, and from each equivalence class pick up one element, exactly one element x alpha, select one element x alpha, choose one element x alpha from each equivalence class and put them together in a box, call that E, and claim is that E is a set. And this is the place where using axiom of choice. So that means E alpha is a collection of non-empty sets. From each we can pick up one element and form this set. This is possible only if we assume axiom of choice. So here is the place where we are using axiom of choice. So from each equivalence class we have picked up one element and constructed a set E. So obviously this set E is a subset of 0, 1. Right, because each equivalence class is a subset of 0, 1, and from each we have picked up one element. So this is a subset of 0, 1. Okay, let us write. So let rationals in -1 to 1 be written as R1, R2, Rn, and so on. Rationals in the interval -1 to 1 is a countable set, so they can be enumerated, they can be written in the form of a sequence. We are not saying R1 is smaller than R2 or anything, we are just giving a enumeration of the rationals. They are countably many, so we can write them as a sequence and define a set En, which is E plus Rn, n bigger than or equal to 1. Construct a set En, this. So let us observe, where is the set En? E is in 0, 1 and each Rn is between -1 to 1. So what can you say about the set E plus Rn? So E can be 0 to 1, Rn could be -1 to 1, so that means each one of them is a subset of -1 to 2. At the most, this sum can become -1 when elements of E are smaller, the smallest one is 0 and possibility here say -1, and the largest possible is Rn is equal to 1 and E also element is 1, so 1 plus 1 2. So for every n, En is a subset of 0, 1, okay, of -1 to 2. So this implies that the union of Ens is also contained in -1 to 2. Okay, so that is one observation. Also, if I take x belonging to 0, 1, if I take an element x in 0, 1, that implies x is related to x alpha for some alpha, right? Because the equivalence classes cover 0, 1. So every element x in 0, 1 has to belong to one of the equivalence class. So say it belongs to E alpha. So that means it is related to x alpha, the element that we have picked. So that implies that x minus x alpha is a rational. Okay, x minus x alpha related means the difference is a rational, and so where will that rational be? X is in 0, 1, x alpha is in 0, 1. This is a rational in -1 to 1, right? Because both could be 1, and that means that is x minus x alpha belongs to En, because if it is a rational in -1 to 1, that must be equal to some Rn, right? And that means x is equal to x alpha plus Rn, and that means it is in En. So what we are saying is, for every x in 0, 1, x minus x alpha belongs to is in Rn. So sorry, so that not that, so that implies that x is equal to x alpha plus Rn, and that belongs to En. So x belongs to En. So the second observation is that 0 1 is inside the union of Ens. So that is what we have gotten. So this construction we have got is the following, that 0 1 is contained in union of E plus Rn, that is En, n equal to 1 to infinity, and that is contained in minus 1 to 2. And in this construction of the set E, we have used axiom of choice. Now here is one observation that we want to observe, claim that these sets E plus Rn intersection E plus Rm are disjoint sets for n not equal to m. To prove this, so let us take an element x which is common. So if not, x belongs to E plus Rn, that means x is equal to x alpha plus Rn, is also equal to, it is also in E plus Rm, so it is also equal to some E beta plus Rm, and that implies that x is related to x alpha and x is related to x beta, that is x is related to x alpha, and that implies either x alpha is equal to x beta, right? If right, that's they should be same, and that is possible, implies that alpha is equal to beta. So if alpha is not equal to beta, right, then this is not possible. So that says that means that these two sets are disjoint. So this is what we have gotten. So as a consequence, let us write this as that 0 1 is contained in a disjoint union of E plus Rn, n equal to 1 to infinity, and that is contained in minus 1 to 2. So till now we have not done anything except we defined a equivalence relation, and using axiom of choice we constructed a set E, and this has this property. Now assume that E is Lebesgue measurable. Then there are two possibilities. One, Lebesgue measure of E is equal to 0, but that implies Lebesgue measure of E plus Rn is equal to 0 for every n, because Lebesgue measure is translation invariant, and that implies that the Lebesgue measure of the union E plus Rn is equal to 0, and that implies, because 0 1 is inside this, that means Lebesgue of 0 1 equal to 0, which is a contradiction because Lebesgue measure of 0 to 1 is equal to 1. The second possibility is that the Lebesgue measure of E is strictly bigger than 0. Then that implies Lebesgue measure of minus 1 to 2, this closed interval, is bigger than or equal to Lebesgue measure of this union, because that is a subset of it, and that is equal to sigma lambda of E plus Rn, and that is equal to sigma lambda of E, because for every n it is same, and this being a positive quantity added infinite number of times, that is equal to plus infinity, which is again a contradiction because lambda of minus 1 to 2 actually is equal to 3, and 3 equal to infinity is a contradiction. So either case this assumption cannot be true, right. So this is a set which is in 0 1 and which is not measurable. So what we have shown is the following, that if we assume axiom of choice, then there exists non-Lebesgue measurable sets in the real line. without axiom of choice or without continuum hypothesis, it's not known that you can construct subsets of the real line which are not measurable, non-Lebesgue measurable. In fact, there is a theorem which says that the condition that assume axiom of choice, right? Actually, if you put this as an axiom in set theory, that every subset of the real line is Lebesgue measurable, if you take that as an axiom, and if your set theory axioms are already consistent, then adding this new axiom to your set theory will not make any difference. It will still leave it consistent. So, existence of non-measurable sets get related to fundamental questions in set theory. So, on this side, we will leave it as it is, saying that if you either assume continuum hypothesis or you assume axiom of choice, then there exist sets which are not Lebesgue measurable. Let us turn to the other side. Can we say that the Borel sigma algebra, the Borel subsets of real line, they form a subset of form a subclass of Lebesgue measurable sets? What is the relation between these two? Can we say that the Borel sets form a proper subset of the class of all Lebesgue measurable sets? So, one can show, will not prove most of the things here because they are slightly technical. So, first observation is that the Borel sigma algebra of the real line, which is a sigma algebra generated by all intervals, is the same as the sigma algebra generated by all open intervals, because one can show that every open set in real line is a countable union of open intervals actually, that is using the basic topology in the real line. So, topological properties of real line come into play. So, and not only that, in fact, you can take open intervals with only rational endpoints, and if you generate the sigma algebra by them, that is same as the Borel sigma algebra. So, that needs a proof, so will not prove it, but just indicate what is involved here. So, the Borel sigma algebra, so this is a countable family, open intervals with rational endpoints. So, you take a countable family of intervals and generate the sigma algebra, and that is BR. And one can show that the cardinality of this process of generating is exactly equal to C. So, one using these properties, one shows, using this construction, one shows that the cardinality of the sigma algebra of Borel sets is same as that of C, that of the continuum, and that is of the real line, whereas the cardinality of the Lebesgue measurable sets was 2 to the power C. So, that means there exist sets. So, cardinality, looking at the cardinality, says that there exist sets which are Lebesgue measurable but which are not Borel sets. But actual construction of these sets is not very easy. It is possible to construct such sets which are Lebesgue measurable but which are not Borel sets. They are called analytic sets, and for that we refer our textbook. For more details, those who are interested, they should refer the textbook for more details. So, what we have shown today is that in the special case of the extension theory, we get the notion of length function on a class of sets which are called Lebesgue measurable sets, which include the Borel sigma algebra of subsets of the real line, and the cardinality of the Lebesgue measurable sets is same as the cardinality of all subsets. And if you make some assumptions like continuum hypothesis or axiom of choice, you can show existence of sets which are not Lebesgue measurable. Otherwise, you can't show, there is no such proof known. And on the other side, the Borel sigma algebra has got cardinality C, which is much strictly less than the cardinality of Lebesgue measurable sets. So, we will continue looking at the properties of Lebesgue measurable sets vis-a-vis open sets, closed sets, and the group structure on real line in the next lecture. Thank you.